Hi there, and welcome to the Experience Podcast. They call me Dennis, and I'm a flash of light in a moment of time.
I am a multi-dimensional spiritual being that's having a human experience, and my name is Neil. And in this video today, we're here right now in gorgeous Costa Rica. Outside, there's bamboo behind us, there's cicadas in the background, and there's beautiful flowers around. There's beautiful plants around. There's an abundance of hibiscus. There's an abundance of vegetables. There's an abundance of fruit. There's an abundance of great company. Dennis, how do you feel right now?
I feel amazing, and I would just like to add that there's, like you said, abundance of good company. There's an abundance of love here. There's an abundance of peace, abundance of joy, of just amazing community here. So I feel so much gratitude. Like I feel like my heart is about to just boom, explode.
That's a very real potential. What was your journey like coming to the village, and can you go into that some?
Yes. So coming to the village, like a short version or the long version?
However you feel.
So the short version is on July 24th, I flew to Costa Rica, and I've been here ever since. And coming to Earthquaking Village was, how would you say, can you ask the question again?
Yes, just what was your arrival like? What was your coming here? And
To Costa Rica.
correct.
So,
And also a reason behind that.
yes. So,
And was there a reason?
yes, absolutely. And like I said, July 24th, I made or was when I flew down here. And like I didn't know where I was going to end up for sure. I arrived on July 24th, brought a taxi out to, I knew where you were staying in or I knew that my brother was staying in Matapalo in the general area, general location.
Which was pretty fucking vague.
Yeah, really.
However general that was definitely you knew the name of the town, and that was about the
Yeah.
extent of
Like
it.
immediately when I landed at the airport, like there was this language barrier that I was like, oh shit. And then I had like culture shock for a little bit. And so I went outside and I had this taxi. He's like, yeah, where do you want to go? I said, Matapalo. I said, I put my full trust in this guy because he could have taken me to some other fucking part of the country. Like I had no idea. He goes, yeah, Matapalo. I said, yeah. So 4 hours later, we got to Matapalo, and I seen you sitting by the side of the road. So that was kind of my initial experience, and it's actually kind of incredible how everything transpired. So
Yes.
that was my initial experience. How about yours?
Thank you for asking. And my initial experience was similar, as in, I landed at the airport, and when I landed at the airport, it was like Pablo Espanol, and it was no Espanol, hablo inglés. And that's what it was like for me. And there were some people that were able to speak English and to be able to help communicate with people that were pure Spanish speaking. And that was a navigation that I had navigated as soon as I arrived. And I exchanged a lot of my dollars for colones. Colones being the money currency that they use here. And colones is backed by the dollar. So as the dollar is now continuing to decrease in value, colones are going to go right along with that. So I exchanged for colones, and then they asked me if I had insurance, and I did. And I also didn't have long enough insurance for what my stay was, because my stay was 7 days, according to my airline ticket and according to all my travel plans. That was my stay. And also I had a return ticket, because when you don't have a return ticket, they're asking a whole lot more questions. So I had a return ticket intentionally and with no intention of using it. And so there was that. And so then from there, with the insurance thing, right away they said, well, you're not even able to leave this airport until you have traveler's insurance. And I had it, but it was like 2 days less than, so I had insurance for 5 days and my stay was 7 days. So they said, well, you have to have insurance for those other 2 days, because if something happens to you, then the traveler's insurance pays for it.
Okay.
And so right away, in the airport still, I proceeded to buy traveler's insurance for 2 days. So now I had 2 insurances, and it cost me like 27 US dollars. It was very cheap. And after I had that, then from there, they were like, great, like they'd already checked my baggage. I had my baggage, and it was just like a eyes wide open experience of like, what's next? Like, I'm here now. There's like infinite potential from here forward, because that's exactly what it was like. Like it was a new world. It was a new people. I wasn't aware if they drove around with cows and donkeys, if they had cars. I wasn't aware of that, but it's very, very modernized here, and modernized to the extent that I would call it Americanized. That's how modernized I see Costa Rica. And the people living in Costa Rica are very Americanized.
And when you say Americanized, can you break that down a little bit more? Like,
again, it's very consumeristic. It's a lot of consumption,
domestication.
a lot of domestication and indoctrination through their school systems. And they have local, they call them ticos because they're local to this area. Those people from the local, they're growing up and not having much of an idea of the value of plants, our place in nature, how we can utilize nature. Like even here at Earth Waking Village, like we're planting plants and planting all these fruit trees and this abundance of resources. And the locals are looking at us like, they're not looking at us, but they have this perception of like a loco gringo. And because being from their perception of, they don't see the value of all this food source that is all around us.
So when you say food source all around us, like, are you talking in particular to where we are now? Or are you talking like all of Costa Rica?
I'm speaking all of Costa Rica. Particular where we are now, it's definitely enhanced. But if you have a any sort of somewhat of an awareness of things around, you can just live here off the land. Like there's nothing outside required for you to thrive here. And when I say nothing outside, it's all outside, but like there's nothing outside of nature required to thrive. Nature provides everything here. And there are also locals that then do have that awareness. So there's a lot of holistic products here, a lot of bee with CBD and like beeswax with CBD and peppermint creams and all sorts of teas and herbs. And so there are also locals that do have an awareness. But the majority are very Americanized. And I don't know why we went there, but it's perfect because we did go there. So I was at the airport, and then I took a taxi from the airport, and it was a similar thing. I said I wanted to go to where did I go when I arrived? Oh, I went to Earth Waking Village right here. So this is my first destination. I drove directly here. The first drive we went into was a few houses before this one, a few drives before this. So we drove up into the mountain and drove way the flock back of the mountain. It turned into a gravel path. And the taxi driver wasn't sure if his car was going to make it. And I said I can walk from here, but he's like, no, we'll go check it out. And it wasn't the right location. We spoke to a guy, and he wasn't aware of where we wanted to go. But eventually we found this place. And it was just like 3 drives up the road. So we were right in the general area. But because there's so much woods and it's a new area and there's multiple people living here, it was interesting finding this exact location where I'm at currently, which is Earth Waking Village. And there's going to be a link in the description to where you can join Earth Waking Village, and it's going to be a virtual village. And this is like a Facebook group of people that are in the new earth and communicating about the new earth and that are awake and conscious. So if you want to connect, if you want to interact, there's a link in the description.
Something else that I'm going to add to that is if you're watching this, there's a retreat coming up. It's an 8-day retreat, and we're going to link that in the description too. But if you pay for it before, I think it's October, it's coming up soon. But anyways, if you pay for this beforehand, it's only $3,000. But if you wait, it's going to be, I think, $10,000. So That's gonna have a lot of activities. They're gonna have, there's all kinds of things that they have planned for this
There's
retreat.
yoga, martial arts. There's going to be
Cacao ceremony.
well, you don't even know if it's cacao. It is there's going to be a medicine journey, an unknown medicine journey at this point, still to be decided upon, probably through Mel England is hosting this retreat, and so yes, I would very much invite you and recommend that you look into this if this is something that interests you, if this is something that sparks you. You can be here. You can come to the village, to this retreat, and experience life in the new earth, and it's available to you. So that'll be in the description. So when I arrived here, it was for the solution event.
Okay.
And I was here for the solution event. And so that's the reason I arrived here. And
This was, how big of an event was this? Like, how many people were here? Like, what,
great
how did you
question.
find the solution event? Like, how did you find this village?
Great question. So I'll speak some on the event itself, and then I'll go into how I first came into contact with the village, with the people, and the community. So the solution event, this event consisted of probably approximately 15 to 25 people. I'm not aware of the exact number. And that was here in person. And then it was also filmed so that people could watch it live and be part of the solution event virtually.
Okay.
So it was a virtual and in-person event. And that was freaking badass. I really love events like that. And so that was about the size of it. And so I stayed here for the duration of the event. And then, what was more questions about that?
Yeah, so now that you're here, like, how did you initially find out about Earthquaking Village?
Yes.
And the event, the solution event?
Right. So this is I'm gonna backtrack a ways here, because I'm gonna backtrack to when I first heard about Earthquaking Village. And I'm gonna even backtrack further to when I first saw Jonathan England for the first time. And because when I first saw Jonathan England, I did not have an awareness that he was affiliated with Earthquaking Village.
Really?
That wasn't on my radar when I first met him. So in Indiana, at my home in Milford, in the town of Milford, I would watch a lot of podcasts. I would watch a lot of YouTube. It was a source of great information for me. And I would listen to specific podcasts and podcasts that I actually wanted to program my brain with, because we don't just eat with our mouth, we also eat with our minds, we eat with our eyes. What we see, we are programming ourselves with. So you can choose to program yourself, or you can choose to let yourself be programmed. And I chose to program myself. And so through this watching of podcasts, an ad popped up and it said, these are 5 questions that humanity should be asking themselves right now. And then it was Jonathan England, and he asked the 5 questions. And I don't even recall what the questions were. But what I do recall is that when he asked the questions, he asked questions that I was thinking about.
And
so
you could relate.
Oh, no, I couldn't relate. Like, I could relate, but like, it wasn't even relating. It was like connection. Like, it was like he had gone into my mind, retrieved 5 questions, and then asked them to the world. Like I was just feeling into those 5 questions, and now you're asking me them.
Wow.
So it was so super profound. And that was a reason that I looked into his content, because of this synchronicity of him speaking what I was thinking, and not even necessarily what I was thinking, but just what was there. And so then I looked into his content and discovered that he had Earthwaking Village, and there was an event coming up, a virtual, and this was called Awaken Life Live, virtually on Zoom, and there were hundreds of people on it, like hundreds, like 500-600 people. There were a lot of people on this Zoom event. And because he was running ads at that time, and there were many people in attendance, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, none of which are currently going because YouTube and Facebook shut him down for speaking the truth. And we're seeing that happen on en masse scale right now. Wow. Censorship. If you speak what's true, guess what? You're wearing a tinfoil hat. You're a conspiracy theorist. And conspiracy theorists, that's a term that was invented by the CIA to literally stop people from speaking the truth. So rather than hear what you have to say, they just call you a conspiracy theorist, and then that eliminates what you have to say. So it's a way that the CIA designed to stop people from speaking the truth. And so that was my first interaction with Awaken Life Live. So I interacted there. I had my camera on some of the time, not all of the time. I was mostly just listening. Started communicating with the community more. Maybe attended a second event. And from there, I eventually, it came to a point where I was interacting with the community. I had invested some of my money into Nature Coin, which is the currency of the New Earth. And if you want to donate and receive Nature Coin, you can trade in your useless US dollars and receive Nature Coin, which is a cryptocurrency that's backed by land and backed by vegetables and backed by fruit and backed by people's hearts. So this Nature Coin has a legit value, and that link is going to be in the description. And so I had invested in Nature Coin. So then I actually went to a Awakened Life Live that was in Dominical. I came in person to Dominical to this Awakened Life Live event and showed up. I hadn't met anybody before other than on this virtual Zoom event. And I see John and Kirk like preparing the tables, getting ready for the next day. Yeah. Because it was like the day before when I arrived. And I go, "Hey, John." And he's like, "Hey, who are you?" And I introduced myself. Actually, I might have spoken to Kirk first and been like, "Hey, Kirk," because I really remembered what I remembered from, actually, I do remember this. I did speak to Kirk first and said, "Hey, Kirk," and then I spoke to John after. And I spoke to Kirk first, literally just because I remembered from the Zoom calls, his aura and his energy and his decisiveness and just the way he presents himself. But either way, interacted, and so I met the community in person and met people that they were part of the virtual community. For example, actually, I'm not going to say their names, but there were people there that I'm still in contact with currently now in Costa Rica, but I met them for the first time at that event. And then from there, I flew back to the States, still kept in contact with the community, attended their events, and then I learned about the solution event and realized that where I was staying was no longer a match to my vibration and frequency, and decided that I wanted to be in a clean fish tank. And this is actually very fucking interesting, because if you have a shark and you put him in a fish tank, he'll only grow to 8 inches. But if you take that exact same shark and you put him in the ocean, he can grow to like 8 feet or more. So it's all about your environment and the people you're around. And I'll repeat that. It's all about your environment and the people you're around. And one more time, it's all about the environment and the people you're around.
And if you don't have a community, like, that is the key.
Yes, because we live in an and world. And. It's not an either or, it's an and world. And so that's how my initial
How you got here?
that's how my introduction was, and that's how I then arrived at the solution. That yes,
Sure. That is awesome.
that's freaking phenomenal. I'm still processing. So I will continue to process.
So, what is life like here at this village? Like, if you could, I mean, it's kind of relative, but like, what, if you could give the viewers like an example of, like an outside look in,
Sure,
like, yes.
I definitely can. I can sum it up in a word and a small dance. Freedom!
Bunch of weirdos here.
That's what it's like here in the village. Complete and absolute freedom. Freedom to express yourself, freedom to find yourself, freedom to recognize who you are, learn about who you are, learn about your potentials, learn about your gifts, and overflow those gifts and potentials.
And be subordinate in that.
Not only be, yes, like
in cooperation with each other, like constantly coming up with new ideas and just expansion of abundance.
very much. So I want to ask you, what was your introduction, and can you speak about that and how you got introduced, and then yeah, just go into that some.
Sure.
I'm very curious.
So I actually got introduced to earth waking through you. Like, I remember because we were roommates at the time in the old world, and I remember that just listening to the conversation, there was one particular portion where I was like, this guy is fucking on to something. He was talking about the currency. And so that's when I really, like, I remember you had it in the kitchen and I overheard it. I'm like, okay, this guy's got my attention now. So that's when I started, you know,
This guy being Jonathan England.
yes, talking about how the current system is going to, how the dollar's going away, and how Rothschild talks about, give me the supply of the nation's money and I care not who makes the rules. And I was like, okay, this guy's, he's yeah, so he got my attention. And then I really have only known about him, like maybe, or about this village in particular, for about since like March or April, I think, of this year. I mean, obviously I knew that he had come down here, but I didn't really start like paying attention. So yes. So I listened to a couple of the events. Awaken Life Live, I listened to some of it. not all of it, and then the solution event. Because I remember a conversation where I had made the decision I was looking around at what was going on in the world and just everything, and just all of it. And I remember in particular where I was ready to come down here, and I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna go. And then I made the decision to come down here 2 months later, and I just through like my intuition, I let my intuition make the decision. But like you said, the fish tank. I seen that the fish tank was not for me anymore, and the fish tank being the United States of America. And so I sold all my things on full faith, and I just made the decision. I didn't have a place to stay.
That is badassery right there.
I had no.
That's totally in the now.
Yes, and going back to my original story of when I landed and took that taxi for 4 hours, I met up with you, and I still didn't have a place to stay. It was getting dark at this point, and so it was amazing because the taxi dropped us off, and Matapalo is this little inky dinky town on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica.
Right by the beach.
Yes.
Like right by the beach.
Like you can hear the ocean just fucking roaring.
Like it's like vibrating the ground. Like you can feel it underneath your feet. You can smell salt water, and any moment of the day you choose, you can just walk to the beach.
Yes. And we get dropped off. The taxi's like, my brother's like, yeah, because we came over to Earth Waking, and then there was an event going on at the time, and there was a person that came out. He's like, no, we're holding this event, and everybody's busy at the moment. So we're like, okay, that's. So from there, we got a taxi and came to Matapalo, and got out of the taxi, and this guy is like he had an accent, but he goes, hey, something about you guys looking for a place to stay. I'm like, yes, sir. Like, so he opened the doors, and they got in Costa Rica, it's a third world country, but they had this big door, and I look in there and I'm like, holy shit. Like this is like heaven here. I remember thinking that to myself. He had a swimming pool that was all lit up, beautiful colors. Just amazing property, like just beautiful. And so ended up talking to this couple, and they were from Germany. They had actually come to Germany because of this kind of similar reason,
Costa Rica?
or come to Costa Rica from Germany because they had seen that Germany was not their proper fish tank either. So we connected on that level, and I stayed there for about
because they sprechen the German.
Yeah.
They were able to schwätz the language. And then when I said schwätz, he was like, that's a dialect. And he was aware of where the dialect schwätz originated from, which was like a different part of Germany where they were at. But it was fascinating to be able to interact with the German language, and we just met this person, like, and now he's speaking German. Like, there are no coincidences or accidents in this universe. It all worked out magically. So continue with where you were going with that.
Yeah, so I think there was an event the same weekend as I came down here, and then I ended up paying for a month to stay here at this beautiful, like heaven on earth place. And
Cocoa Beach Village.
Yes.
And that is a potential if you want to come to Costa Rica and stay at a gorgeous hotel that's right by the beach. Cocoa Beach Village is your place.
Yes, beautiful. So, and then so like 3 months later, and actually at that point you were actually living about Like not even a kilometer, maybe a half a
Quarter
kilometer.
mile.
Yeah. So, but you asked the question how I came to this village,
Well,
or how I ended up here.
um,
Or what was the
you
question?
can go into that, but you already answered the question I
Okay.
asked. The question was like your initial introduction to earthquaking.
Sure.
And then you built on that.
Okay.
So if you want to speak about now, actually living at Earthquaking Village, I feel like that would be a extremely fascinating and inspirational topic to speak about for people that have aspirations and for people that feel worthy and radiant that want to come live in Earthquaking Village. Because
Where the fish, if you feel like the fish tank you're in doesn't support your talents and your gifts and your capacity to just live.
your full potential.
Yes.
And Earthquaking Village is also now more than just a single property. Like there's a coffee farm involved. There's multiple properties that are continuing to bring about this heaven on earth here in Costa Rica. And this is literally a blueprint for villages that have a potential to be all over the world and utilize this nature coin and interact from village to village. So if you feel called to that, I recommend that you first go into Earthquaking Village University, and then after that, directly contact Jonathan England or Mel England. And more than anything, listen to your heart and follow your intuition and follow your higher guidance. Yes, do you want to speak more about now? So you're staying at Cocoa Beach Village, but now you're living at Earthquaking Village. How did that transition come about? And so that people can see that it is a potential for you.
Yes. So during this time that I stayed at Cocoa Beach Hotel, it allowed me to, in that time frame, I did a Bufu frog ceremony and a Kambo ceremony, and I feel like it really allowed me to have the time. Like I didn't have a job at this point. I had the ability to just sit and literally do nothing. And yes, and in the old world, like there was this domestication that happens where we're told that we constantly need to be doing something or fucking be going somewhere or doing some kind of an activity. And I feel like it allowed me to have this time to where I could just, like you said, just be. And you know, I tapped into the next event, which was like 30 days from then, and I put an application in with Earthquaking, answered all of the questions, and just really, you know, just got to work. I got to work on improving me and working on me and my shadows, and I feel like that's just an ongoing thing. Like it's that's part of being here in the village is having breakthroughs and you know, healing. And
Did you define a breakthrough? You kind of did with your word healing, but is that how you would describe it, or would you go say more about it?
I think that a breakthrough is where if somebody gets triggered, let's say that Neil says something that I get triggered on, and when I see a trigger, you know, it makes me not feel good or whatever. I'm like, okay. And then I get an opportunity to look within myself and find out, and the community actually helps with this. Find out where and specific questions get asked, and we get to the bottom of where this emotion came from and heal from it. So
and lots of it is from 7 years of age and younger. That is when we're most susceptible to this societal programming. And this program comes from your parents, it comes from your cousins, and it comes from your grandparents, because those are the people that program your mom and dad. So we're all programmed. It's just about what are you programmed with, and do you choose to deprogram yourself and then reprogram yourself, or do you choose to keep your old programming and see how that turns out? So it's a multitude of choices, and we do have a choice, and we have choices too.
So I feel like, so yes, that was my journey of being, after the solution event. I on the application, I put down what my gifts are and et cetera. And that's, now I'm living here in this beautiful community with amazing people that are, constant breakthroughs, and just evolving on a level of like personal and spiritual growth that I've never seen anywhere in the world or anywhere.
So, who do you depend on?
Nobody.
There's this quote that goes like this, is that the ultimate form of control is dependency. And so ask yourself right now, who do I depend on? And if you have any dependency of any sort, that's dysfunction. And when we can be completely independent and sovereign, we can be individualized with our gifts from God, and we can connect with community and all share our gifts, all be independent, and all be in service of God, of the Creator, through being in service to ourselves and others. And that is true freedom of complete independence, and not only just independence, but also interdependence, where you're in community and together you create this wonderful supernova of expansion and joy and growth and purpose and life. And so that's how it is in my current reality. And I actually foresee it expanding upon what it currently is. And so do you want to add more?
That's like hallelujah.
Hallelujah is right. And you want to say it in unison? Uno, dos, tres. Hallelujah.